In December of 2020, I decided to set 4 main goals for reliable resellers to provide myself with a roadmap forward. Those 4 main goals are as follows. Number 1 was to have 500 active listings up in the eBay store at all times. Number 2 was to have 3,000 total sales. Number 3 was to have a $40 per sale average. And number 4 was to have $120,000 in gross sales. Did I accomplish these goals? Where am I now? And what are my goals for 2022? All that and more in today's episode. In January of 2020, I officially registered Reliable Resellers. Up until that point, I was working in corporate America. I was crawling my way up the corporate ladder, trying to get the better salary and more benefits and the corner office with the view. But I had never had a side passive income. I decided to take the plunge into eBay after going around to a few garage sales with my mom and finding out that, hey, there's some stuff here that I really can buy for pretty cheap, put it up on eBay, put it up online, and sell it for a pretty decent profit, and it's not going to take a whole lot of my time and effort to do this. So I bought a few items at a garage sale, I took them home, I posted them on eBay, I sold them for a profit, and I was hooked. So I registered the business and started doing garage sales and estate sales and going to flea markets and doing all of these things in my spare time when I had spare time after the corporate job, and was slowly building up the eBay business in the background. The intention was never necessarily in the beginning to leave the corporate job behind and go full-time into doing the eBay business. It just kind of morphed into that. So towards the end of 2020, I created the YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel was just something to do for fun. It's just something that I enjoy doing. I like making these videos. And so it's been a way to, one, just sort of express myself creatively with the business, but two, it's also a good way to help advertise the business and advertise our services and potentially find some things that we can buy or maybe sell at some point down the road. So that's kind of the incarnation of the YouTube channel that started back in 2020. And the eBay business has just continued to flourish and continued to blossom. And so right there at the end of 2020, I could really feel that the eBay business was starting to turn into something that really could potentially be a business that could sustain myself long term, and that I could potentially leave my full-time job, be my own boss, and do this as a full-time business and a full-time income. So to move from a passive income on the eBay side to a full-time income on the eBay side. So what I decided to do was make myself some goals to keep myself on track and to try to ensure that I'm continuing to grow the eBay business. And those are the 4 goals that we've already talked about. Now, at the end of 2020, for just working in the eBay business part-time, we did end up doing right around $36,000 in sales, which blew my mind. $36,000 in sales, just doing it part-time and just really buying and selling things that I was finding at garage sales and thrift stores. So it really opened my mind to what was possible. This was only the beginning, of course, and I had a whole 2021 ahead of me. A bunch of bumps, a bunch of curves in the road, a bunch of me leaving the corporate job, leaving corporate America behind, and doing my own thing completely full-time, starting this YouTube channel and focusing on it completely full-time, and just trying to be out here and figure life out and do my own thing. And that's what I'm doing now. 2021 was a huge year for me personally. I finally built up enough equity where I could comfortably leave my corporate job and go out on my own and try to build my own business and focus on the goals I had set for myself back in December of 2020. Goal number one was to have 500 active listings up in the eBay store at all times. The main purpose behind this goal was to keep me focused on listing items. I didn't want to get complacent and allow myself to get lazy. So by setting a goal of 500 active listings at all times, I could use that as motivation to list even when I didn't necessarily feel like it. This turned out to be much harder than I imagined it to be. Never mind finding enough items to continuously have 500 active listings when you have orders coming in every day, but keeping the business afloat just turned out to be a monumental challenge for me. Having to research things like advertising and taxes and sourcing, it took up a massive amount of my free time. Not to mention there were times when I just didn't have items to list. Ultimately, I failed to reach this goal. Not a good start. Goal number two was $120,000 in sales for the year. The idea behind this goal was based on the fact that I assumed I would take home roughly 30% of my profits for myself, or about $40,000, to pay for my personal living expenses, while then using the other 70% of the profits to reinvest back into the business. This was a really lofty goal, considering I had only done about $36,000 in sales for the entire calendar year of 2020. We're talking about a little more than tripling my sales, but I set the goal and I started working towards it. And by the end of 2021, I had eclipsed $130,000 and was inching my way towards $140,000 in sales. Needless to say, we destroyed this goal.
Yeah, baby.
Things are looking up. Goal number three was to have a $40 per sale average. Without getting into the weeds here, I much prefer focusing on items that can bring in roughly $40 per sale or will net me a profit of about 20 bucks, at least in general. When you start factoring in your time into the equation to do things like the sourcing and the researching, this one's often overlooked. Your listing, your shipping, answering customer questions, and etc. You have to ask yourself, how much is my time worth? Is it worth it to be my own boss if I'm barely making $8 an hour before taxes? For me, that answer was no. And by the way, we obliterated this goal. We ended up at $77 per item sold. Love it.
Yeah,
love
baby.
it. Last but not least, goal number four was to have 3,000 total sales for the year. After setting goals 2 and 3, goal number 4 basically just said itself. If I'm aiming at $120,000 in sales for the year at $40 per sale on average, then that puts me at 3,000 sales for the year to hit that goal. We ended up well short of this goal with only 1,802 sales, but with an average of $77 per sale, I think it's safe to say we'll gladly fall short on this one.
Yeah, baby.
So in the end, we failed to meet our first goal of 500 active listings, but we did achieve goals 2 and 3 of $120,000 gross and $40 per sale average.
Yeah,
and we had a satisfactory on the fourth goal of 3,000 total sales. I've got some really big goals for 2022, and those goals are as follows. Number 1 is to hire someone to help run the eBay business. Number 2 is $500,000 in sales. Number 3 is 25% ROI, or about $125,000 of the profit. Number 4, to produce quality content and grow the YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers. Number 5, start a business-focused podcast and do a 5-episode trial. Number 6, start creating a production company that works with smaller content creators to help them edit their videos. And number 7, possibly open a physical location if the money allows it. With all of this said, in order for me to be able to execute on goals 2 through 7, I have to hire someone first to help me run the eBay business. I already have the system in place. It's proven and I know it works. I just need someone to come in and help me with the sourcing and the listing and the shipping and doing all of the research and finding new ways to find new items to sell. So getting step and goal number 1 completed is going to be crucial to moving on to all of the other goals on the list. Goals like $500,000 in sales on eBay. It's an extremely lofty goal to go from $140,000 in sales to $500,000 in sales, but that's only roughly tripling where I'm at right now. And considering I was able to triple the profits doing it on my own in 2021, I think it's a reasonable goal to set to say, if I can bring in someone to help, that we should collectively be able to once again triple that and go from about $140,000 to roughly $500,000 in gross sales in the eBay business. The 25% ROI on the $500,000 in sales is simply there because if we can produce $125,000 in take-home profits between myself and my coworker, then between the two of us, we can split that right down the middle, and we should be able to take home right around $60,000 per person, of course, before taxes. I'm also very focused on continuing to grow the YouTube channel to 1,000 subscribers just by way of making quality content. Doing this will not only help us to advertise the business and our services, but it could potentially serve as another source of income at some point in the future. I'm also going to start working on creating a production company, something that will be used to help other content creators to edit their videos and to produce higher quality content for their own YouTube channels. What I'm going to do is attempt to team up with a local university and try to bring in students who are looking to add bullet points to their resume and works to their portfolio in exchange for coming in and helping me to build this production company and advertise it and start to grow it and get the name out there. I will also be starting a business-focused podcast this year, doing a 5-episode trial run and then going back and reevaluating the path forward. I'm very much in the beginning stages of getting this goal planned out. Last but not least is opening a physical location. And honestly, this goal should probably be a little up higher on the list because in order to achieve the $500,000 in total sales, I really believe we're going to have a physical location in place before we're going to be able to get to a number like that. But we just have to make sure the stars will align and that the money is going to allow it to happen. I realize these are some lofty goals, but I have some ideas for execution and we're going to make these happen. So thanks a lot for coming along this journey with me. It really does mean a lot that you're putting your faith and your trust in me. I promise I won't let you down. Bye, guys.